Welcome back, everyone. So I'm here to show you a brand new tutorial. This one is going to be a doozy and a fun one. So I've been spending the last about 2 hours trying to figure out why my Unraid will not let me use a custom build. Upon talking to the developer of Hoshios, I'm sorry if I botched that again, Caddy install, I was able to get it working, and now I can pass the information on you guys. So this video is going to be installing Caddy reverse proxy on your Unraid system. So obviously you will need an Unraid system, and you will need a either dynamic or static IP from your ISP. Again, this is not something you can change. It's something every ISP gives out to you. If it's something you do want to change, you would have to contact your ISP. Those two are required because CJNAT does not allow port forwarding, which Caddy does not work without port forwarding. So the difference between dynamic IPs and static IPs is that a dynamic IP will change the IP address multiple times over, let's say, a year, 6 months. It'll change just randomly. Let's say your ISP shares that IP with other people, so just rotate those shared IPs. Then you have a static IP, which never changes. That's the best kind of IP because you never have to change it. But if that is the case, it's really easy to set up a DDNS, which DuckDNS does do as well. I'll go over that as well in this tutorial. It's pretty simple to set up and get working. I'm gonna be in as much detail as I can for you guys to make sure you guys understand this all. And yeah, let's get started. So first, what we need to do is we need to go to our Unraid system, and this is most important. If you haven't set up a reverse proxy, this is gonna be most important. Is we're gonna go into settings on your top bar, and go into management access, and we need to change this HTTP port to 81. It should be set at 80 if this hasn't been changed before, and our HTTPS port needs to be changed to 444. Again, if you haven't changed it before, it will probably be set at 443. This is essentially how your Unraid system loads. The reason we have to change these is because 80 and 443 need to be used for Caddy or your reverse proxy. So setting it to 81 then, when you load it up again, let's say once I change it. So once you've changed these to either 81, 444, or with anything other than 80 and 443, now when you load your Unraid, again, it'll be your internal IP of your Unraid system, which mine is 192.168.158, and then it'll be 81 to load my Unraid after I make those changes. And this will be how you load it every time on your local system. Once we've done that, then we can get into the real good fun stuff. So we're going to go into Docker, and we are going to, I'm sorry, not Docker. We're going to go into apps, and we're going to search up Caddy. So we'll wait for this to load. All right, we'll type Caddy, 2 Ds, there we go. And we're going to want this one by HOTIO repository or Hoshios. I'm sorry again if I botched that. And click install and just do the default, which is the latest tag, which is we always want to be up to date on this. Just ignore that. That's my own system just being weird. All right. So now that we're here, we have obviously the name of it being Caddy. We have the port as 8080, the host port as 8443. And under this, we're gonna you can keep it default. I'm gonna change mine to my custom build because I run Cloudflare usually, but mine's under mount, and then I do user, and I have an SMB share on here called Unraid share apps, and we'll make a directory in there real quick called Caddy if you haven't already. So we're gonna go into apps, and we can just right click on your share, or you can use the UI. So if we click on duplicate tab, and if we go to shares, we can then edit our share. So again, if we're on app data, we can do it in here, or we can do it in here. We go into this little box with a arrow and click on apps. This is if you want to install it on a separate place on your system. I do this just because when I'm running 2 or 3 different installs, it makes it easier to rotate them through. And then we'll just create a new directory and we'll call it Caddy. But I've already done this, so I'm not going to do that. Once you click Caddy, click start. And as you can see, my Caddy directory is not empty because I've already set this up trying to troubleshoot. But I'll remove these so you can see that I'm doing it all live for you. So we're going to delete this. gonna see what's. We're gonna delete the Caddy folder. 1 second. Delete this Caddy folder. All right. All right. So you should have nothing in this directory. We'll remove these as well, just to be safe. All right. There we go. All right. Once we've done that, now we need to download Caddy. So once we have, or I'm sorry, before we do that, we need to set a custom build, but let's download that custom build first before we finish this. So we're going to download Caddy. So we're going to go to this website, caddyserver.com, and we'll just click on the download page. I'll add this link in the description as well, so you guys can just click it and download it straight away. We're going to set the platform as Linux AMD 64, because again, we're on a 64-bit system. Unraid is a Linux system. A backend is Linux, so, and we're running a 64-bit. Most of you aren't running 32-bit unless you're running a system from like the 80s or 90s or early 2000s, but it's very rare that someone running Unraid in current date will be using an 86-bit system. We're going to click on Cloudflare right here to make sure it's blue, and we're going to click on this DuckDNS to make sure it's blue. That's basically enabling those two plugins to be built custom for this application so we can run it on Unraid. So we're going to click. Once that's done, we're going to scroll to the top and just click download. And if you're using a download manager, we're going to save it. We can save it on our system, or we can just SMB it over. I have my SMB as a network drive on my Windows system. Again, if you don't know what a network drive is, highly look into using it. SMB is great with Unraid. I'm assuming if you're doing this, you probably already have one set up if you're using another system. If not, you can always put on a flash drive or upload it manually, but I'll just show you how to do this Unraid system. So I'm going to my my user Unraid share. I'm going to Caddy. I'm going to save it in here. Oop. And we're just going to leave it named the same because that's fine default. All right. Once that's done, we can check to make sure it's in there by going into our apps on our Caddy on our share, and it is in there now. Good. Now we're just going to set this to /config. And then set it to our executable. So this config is going to basically say, hey, I want to talk to this config directory, which is this one right here, the mount user Unraid share apps. And we want to make sure we have Caddy in here. It's Caddy. So because our, make sure, so our apps and then Caddy, there we go. And once we do that, config, and then we're going to right click and copy our share name, which is going to be this one, and we're going to paste it in the config file. So basically it's saying, hey, use this config, this binary from this directory, but this is just a shortcut to so it executes it. And once we have that done, we're going to click apply, and that will continue, and we'll let it run. And once it's done running, we can click done. And now if we go back to Docker, we can see that it is running, but you will get a couple fails. So let's see what's going on there. So we're going to look at the logs. And as you can see, it is running that custom build. And it is running correctly. So all we have to do from now is create our Caddy file. So to do that, we're going to click on this tab and go back to our Caddy directory. And it should have added this time a Caddy file now. Here's our Caddy file. We're going to click it, and we're going to add our config. So to do this, we're going to go to my doc site. This will have all your info on it that you need. It's got a bunch of useful troubleshooting steps and other things that may be useful to you in your reverse proxy needs, jellyfin needs, whatever. I run everything on here, so if you guys have any questions. I also have a Discord in the description, as well as on my site. And if you want to buy me a coffee, support me, you like what I do, appreciate that too. So once we do that, we can go into here and we're going to paste this in. And next, we're going to go to DuckDNS. So if you don't have an account, you can, let me log out. You can log in with a lot of different ones. There's Twitter, GitHub, Reddit. I'm going to sign in with Google. I'm already signed in on this PC, so it shouldn't ask me for authentication. And I'm going to make a domain. So let me delete this. And I have Demon Warrior Flicks. But if I'm going to add a new one, we'll just do jf-demonwarriorflicks. And if I click add domain, it should auto update your IP now. So it should get your most current IP. Now, if you're running a VPN or a Tailscale, this may be different, and that's important. You don't want to have those running. Or if you do have them running, I use Nord, and with Nord, you can add split tunneling. This is an important feature that needs to be done, because if you don't have split tunneling, it won't work, basically. It'll have the IP of your VPN instead of your actual system. So what I do is, to check my IP, I'll only use VPN for selected apps. Or if you have to add different apps to stop reading, like your VPN, you can just add an exemption for Firefox or Chrome or whatever you're using. But right now, we have this set up, but I'm going to use this domain actually. If you want to check your IP to make sure it's correct, once you've turned off your VPN on another PC or on your phone or whatever, and you're on Wi-Fi, you can check IP Chicken, and it'll show your external IP right here. Once we've done that, we've confirmed our IP is correct, which I just did. We're gonna now edit our Caddyfile, and we've added the DuckDNS info. So all we have to do from here is add our subdomain. So it's demonwarriorflix.duckdns.org, and just for important reasons, if I ever want to change systems, I'm just going to put the IP of the system where Caddy is running or where my Jellyfin is running. So let's say you're running a different PC in your network. You have Jellyfin on, I don't know, another Windows laptop or another Windows server. You can always add another IP as long as it's inside your network. You can connect it to this Caddy file. So I'm setting mine as this 192.168.1.158:8096. That's my Jellyfin install. So this is on my local NAS or my local Unraid. Once I've done that, I can click save, and now we can restart Caddy. So if we go back to our apps, our Dockers tab, and we click on this and click restart, we should see it executing now once we load up the logs. We'll wait for it to start real quick. And logs. As you can see, it might be running. Another thing we have to do before that's finally successful is we need to port forward. Now, this is important. Now, if you don't know your port or your router or where your ports are being forwarded, it's usually on your gateway or your router inside your network. An important thing to think of is double NAT. You don't want to have more than one router or one gateway in your system that's running DHCP, or else you'll get a double NAT issue where it'll just load. Every time you load your reverse proxy, it'll load you to your router page. This is important with mesh networks. Mesh networks can cause a lot of issues with this. If you have a mesh network, that's totally fine. Just make sure your gateway or your ISP router / gateway is in bridge mode, and then connect your mesh network up to that. But since we want to figure out where our router is, let's say I'm on this PC and I want to figure out where my router for port forwarding is, I'll just type ipconfig, and we'll see that if I go up to the top where my IPv4 is, we'll see this is going to be my default gateway. This is going to be my router. So I'm going to load this up, and I'm going to paste it in here. And that will load me to my login screen from the router. Click login. And I'm using TP-Link. If you have other ones, they should work as well for port forwarding, as long as you have a static or a dynamic IP. So I went to advanced, and then NAT forwarding and port forwarding. And this is the important part. So we're going to set up our ports as external port 80, because to speak to outside world HTTP, we need to speak to 80. We're going to type our IP address of our device for our Unraid server, which is 192.168.158. And for internal port, we're going to use 80. The reason we're using 80 is because in Caddy, we set it up to use 8080. As you can see, the HTTP port is 8080, and the host port is 8443. So we're just going to plug those in to our router so they can speak to one another. Basically, it's going, hey Unraid, hey external wide web. That's how it runs. It goes right from the internal port to the external port and out to the World Wide Web. So again, we're going to name it HTTP 8080, 80 for external, and TCP. Next, we need to do the 8443, so we're going to name this one HTTPS. Device IP is going to be the same as our Unraid server, so 192.168.1.158. Our external port is again going to be 443 for HTTPS, And again, we made the internal port as the one for our Caddy because that's important that it can speak to Caddy and then speak to the router and speak out to the open world. All right, so once that's done, we have 8443 and we set as TCP again. Click save. Next, we can check to make sure our ports are open. So if Caddy's still running, it should still be running in the background as you, let me go back to Docker. And if Caddy is running, we'll see if the ports are open. So we'll check port 80 and it is closed. So we'll try 443. See if that's open. Nope, they're closed. So let's make sure Caddy is successfully running. Let's go to logs. Let's try restarting this one more time. Hold on. So this is important. If you get this error, this version, there's a version mismatch, you should update your custom build. That usually means a failed Caddy build. So what we're going to do is we're going to control F5 and we're going to redo it again because sometimes it will fail. Again, it's not, it says it right here, do multiple outstanding bugs and go command where some downloads may hang or fail. So ours failed essentially. We're going to rebuild it again. So we're going to go into Linux. We're going to do AMD64 and we're going to select Cloudflare and select DuckDNS, click download, and we're going to download it to the same directory as before, and we'll make sure it goes through. It did. It obviously renamed it, so we'll remove the original and we'll rename this one to a 1. We'll try it again now with our build. We'll restart the build or restart the Caddy container and see if this works. And as you can see, it is working. We have it releasing the lock from my domain. We'll check to make sure it works real quick. And if we check our ports now, we can see 443 is open and 80 is open, which is good. And now the fun part, if we try our domain, DNS, bada bing, bada boom, we got it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. If you guys want to see more of this or see other installments of this, let me know in the description. I will hopefully have this video up and you guys can follow it to your liking. If you guys have any questions, comments, concerns, feel free to join our Discord, as well as if you enjoyed what I did and you thought I did a good job, you know, leave a comment. I always enjoy critical or positive feedback. If you want to support me and you love the work I do, feel free to buy me a PC part. It's just a quick donation from BuyMeACoffee. Thanks guys, have a great rest of your day. Now just an extra bit of information, we will have to get, if we do have a dynamic IP, I forgot to add this in. So this is after I finish the tutorial, but we'll need a dynamic DDNS. So we're going to use DuckDNS as that dynamic DNS updater. So we're going to go to DuckDNS and type it on the App Store. To do that, we're going to click on this and click on install. And we're going to need our token, which is on our DuckDNS. So we'll do that first. So we're going to go our subdomains. If we have more than one, we'll just do ours, which is Demon Warrior flicks.duckdns. Demon Warrior Flicks. I only have one in here, so I don't need to do the second one, so we'll leave that alone. And let me see. Okay, so we're gonna want our Demon Warrior Flicks, just the start name. So as you can see, mine is Demon Warrior Flicks. And you want to go up here. I'm gonna have this blurred out. You're gonna click on your token and copy all this. And we're gonna put it into Unraid under token. Make sure I got that right. Yep. Okay. Token. And then we can click apply. And we'll wait for that to run. And it ran. I will check to make sure it's updating now. So to do that, we're going to go to Docker. go into our where is it? DuckDNS right here, and we're gonna click on logs and make sure it's logging correctly. Make sure there's no errors. It looks like it has found it, and it did correctly do it. It detected IP via Cloudflare, so it is working now. So if I reboot my router or gateway, it should update this IP and should automatically update my DuckDNS IP on all my IPs here, all my domains, for future reference. If you guys have any more questions, comments, concerns, please leave it in the description.